Welcome guys, this is Eric Mwathe with mwathe.com for the week going into October 8th, 2007. We're gonna start off by looking at a prior breakout for a stock. The stock we're gonna be looking at today is one of the two stocks we're gonna be looking at is SVNT. This being a 2-year weekly chart, we are gonna go back and analyze a prior breakout to see what differentiates between one lackluster breakout to one supercharged, super powered breakout. And obviously we want to own only breakouts that are going to be making us a whole lot of money as fast as possible. Okay, so here we see that in October 2006, stock makes a new high and moves from around 620 625 area, and within 3 months the stock has moved all the way to around 1550. That's a huge gain in 3 months, 3 or 4 months, give or take. And what made this breakout special? So this is what I'm going to show you. First and foremost, you see the stock breaks out on week 1, and week 2 was a follow-through, a confirmation of strength. You see that at the same time volume was heavy during week 1, and again on week 2 we see that our RSI moves to above 68 at the time of the breakout. We see that our on-balance volume makes a new 1-year high, which is on-balance volume being a measure of cash flow. And we see that the performance against the S&P 500 makes another 1-year high. At the same time, our moving average divergence convergence indicator MACD makes a crossover and starts moving higher. So you see that was what was going on as far as the indicators were concerned, and the stock did very well going last year. So what is happening again this year, almost around the same time in October, the stock is moving above a prior weekly closing high at 1520. This becomes our buy point. You see it close above that last week. The only my issue with the stock is that volume was not as good as it should be last week. So hopefully this week we get above average performance on the volume. We are seeing that the RSI should also be moving above 68 by the conclusion of this second week of the breakout. We see that already our OBV line is above prior highs and is at a new level. That's bullish. And we see that should the stock move, our performance against the S&P 500 should be also moving to a new high right there. And we also see that that our MACD has already crossed over. This is very bullish. So watch SVNT as it moves above 1520 on a weekly breakout. The last stock I'm going to be talking about is AUXL. Again, this being a 2-year weekly chart. And what we see is that if we go back quickly and look at a prior breakout, the stock broke out just above $9, and within 2.5 months the stock had already moved as high as $18. So that was a double in 2 months. What made this breakout so powerful? So let's watch. We had breakout above prior weekly closing highs. We have week 1 of a breakout with a follow-through. Very important. We had a volume spike during the breakout and a even heavier volume during week 2. Always this is very important. We see that our RSI moved above 68 precisely at the time of the breakout. We see that our on-balance volume made a new high, and also the performance against the S&P 500 line made a new high right as the stock made new weekly highs. And we see that our MACD had already crossed over. So we had all those things lined up. So today what's happening is last week the stock broke out above a prior weekly closing high at 2142, and this was such a straight powerful blast from prior resistance level, so we use that as our buy point and a future support level on a retest. We see that last week we had very strong volume, above average volume. We see that our RSI is already at 75 and is above 68. We see that our on-balance volume is already at a new high. Performance as against the market is already at a new high. We also see that our MACD has already crossed over and is actually already trending higher. So watch that for a follow through this week. This is Eric Mwathe with Mwathe.com. Peace and blessings to you as always.